Hello everyone, welcome to Surf classes. This is Tushar Shaw, and in this video we'll be reviewing the book Fundamentals of Molecular Spectroscopy, third edition by C.N. Banwell. Okay. So this is a molecular spectroscopy book involving the spectroscopy chapters. But thing that what I would like to mention about this book is that this book does not contain such huge derivations and the huge formulas, all those kinds of concepts regarding the spectroscopy data, that is UV, IR, NMR, and microwave spectrum, those kinds of things. So like all the derivations are not included. So this book is like specifically meant for the students who are in the undergraduate level. Okay, like for students in the undergraduate level, the derivations from the quantum mechanical derivations from the Schrodinger wave equation, thus forming the equation for the Hooke's law, and the rotational spectrum equations, the equations for the let us say the microwave spectra and those kinds of stuff. So for those derivations and those huge calculations are not included in the book. They have just given a simple idea about what the spectroscopy is and what are the formulas regarding to the spectroscopy directly, and sums are given. Okay, so for in the undergraduate level, if you are appearing for any competitive exams like JAM, NET, or GATE, uh, this book might be proved useful for you if you are just preparing for competitive exams only. Okay, because if you are a master student and you are doing your project or your thesis in spectroscopy, then this book is not for you. Okay, because this book has very less information, and you would be requiring a more detailed outlook towards the molecular spectroscopy part, and thus I would be recommending other books for that purpose. Okay, so as I mentioned, this book is basically for those, first of all, those who are studying spectroscopy in the undergraduate level. For them, the derivations are not required. Only the formulas usually are asked by the universities, and some sums are asked from the that part, along with the theory part about how let us say what are the molecules which undergo IR spectrum, and those which have show vibrational spectrum, and those kinds of stuff. Okay, so those concepts are quite properly explained. All the concepts that come across from the spectroscopy like chapters, those are quite properly explained. The thing that are not given is like admissive details, which is missing in this book. And if you are like preparing for a competitive exam, this book is like a bible for you for spectroscopy purpose. Each and every some formula which exists there in spectroscopy is properly given and explained in this book, and from that part questions also have been solved vigorously. Okay, and we all know that if you're given any competitive exams, and if you're following the competitive exam schedule, you might see the trend that from spectroscopy part, basically from physical spectroscopy part, basically the questions that arise are just numericals and the concepts regarding that. No such derivation and no such intense information is not required to study from this part only. Okay, like if you are able to complete the sums, each and every sums from this part, then it will be easy for you to cope with this book. Okay, so this book is obviously printed by McGraw-Hill, the book company, which is obviously a foreign author. So this book is not really not available in the Indian market. You may get it on Amazon or Facebook or Flipkart. Obviously, this book is like quite easily available for in the foreign countries. So you can get the PDF of this book quite easily on the internet. Okay, you can Google it and you will be getting the PDF on it. So. So let us look at the contents now. Let us see what are the exact data that is given in the book, and then we will be proceeding to scrolling the book and seeing the book body of the book. Okay. So first of all, character we have the introduction chapter where all the spectrums or the things related to spectroscopy, that how molecules react to certain spectrum of the electromagnetic radiation of light. So those kinds of things are explained. What is electromagnetic radiation? How the electromagnetization works in forms of quantums of energy. Okay, then we have the practical spectroscopy, how spectroscopy is used for certain purposes, what are the types of spectroscopy, what is Fourier transformation, how is computer averaging used. Okay, then we have lasers. So this was overall introduction. This introduction chapter is like quite properly explained, because what is light and what is electromagnetic radiation you require to know before moving into the actual spectroscopic details about how that electromagnetic radiation is working on with the molecules we are subjecting to. Okay, so the next part is my favorite part of spectroscopy, which is the microwave spectroscopy. Okay, the rotation based spectroscopy. So basically, a whole range of questions in the competitive exams are taken from this book. This part of the spectroscopy, which is because this chapter has huge formulas. Basically, not huge formulas, good formulas which can be used in providing tricky sums. Okay, those kinds of formulas exist in this chapter, and that is why it is quite properly, quite extensively used. You may go check the 10 years of JAM, GATE and NET. You can see that from rotational spectra, from many questions have arisen almost every year, every other simultaneous year. The questions have been given from this book. Okay. Then we have this, the rotational spectrum, the diatomic molecules, polyatomic molecules, all of them are explained. Then we have this chemical analysis by microwave spectroscopy. Okay, so this is one of the important parts of this chapter, and then the problems are there. Okay, so one thing also I would like to mention about this book, that is, you can see already that problems are mentioned. That is, many numerical based questions are given in this book for you to solve and process your knowledge. Okay, so and for this part of syllabus, you require some great amount of sums, so as you can prepare well for the competitive exam, and thus you can check yourself whether you have learned properly from this book or not, and whether you can solve the 10 years paper or not. Okay, so this is also an assurity for this book, that if you are studying spectroscopy for competitive exams, then this book might be proved useful to you in this way also, that is, it gives you quite enough, let us say, practice. Okay, for the different types of chapters and different yeah, interesting types of sums. Okay, so moving on, we have this infrared spectroscopy, that is the IR part, vibrational spectroscopy. Okay, so the vibrational spectroscopy using a diatomic molecule, we have the rotator and the very famous Born-Oppenheimer approximation, that is quite properly explained. And then we have interactions with the rotation and vibration, that is what happens when the rotational spectroscopy and vibrational spectroscopy is combined and the data is taken on that basis of a molecule. Okay, then we have the influence of rotation on the spectra of polyatomic molecules. Basically, discussion for diatomic molecules helps us understand, for diatomic molecule is simply the smallest form of a 3D molecule which can exist. Okay, because a single atomic molecule, let us say helium, single atomic molecule. So helium is just an atom. Okay, it cannot show, we consider it to be a sphere, then in that sphere moving in, what kind of rotation it is showing, we cannot ideally determine for helium. Okay, but in case we have just two units of yes, as I was explaining, that for a 2D for a diatomic molecule, you can see that two atoms are there. Let us say chlorine, Cl2 molecule. So two Cl molecules are attached. Now this molecule can rotate in this way, in this way. Okay, so all kinds of rotation are possible, and we can see in that molecule. Okay, and that is why we firstly learn the diatomic molecule, and then we move on to the polyatomic molecule systems. Okay. So, this was infrared chapter. Then we have this Raman spectroscopy part, which is basically the continuation of the infrared spectroscopy in a very advanced way. So, firstly we have pure rotational Raman spectra, that is the Raman spectra involved with the rotational spectrum, which is the microwave electromagnetic radiation. Okay. Then we have the vibrational Raman spectra, which is the involvement of Raman spectra with the infrared spectroscopy. Okay. Then we have the polarization of light and the Raman effect, that is the Stokes line, anti-Stokes line, Rayleigh's line. Okay. Then we have the structure determination from Raman and infrared spectroscopy. Okay, this is basically the main part of this book, because obviously we are here to determine the structure of molecules in this by the spectroscopy. Okay, so that is what we require. Moving on to the next part, that is electronic spectroscopy of atoms. This is basically the electronic spectroscopy usually involves UV and UV and visible light. Okay, and for some cases X-ray is also used. So that is a part here. Okay, so structure of atoms like UV, you've already known in your organic spectroscopy part that UV light helps us determining in the number of double bonds and the type of structure which is involved. Okay, so those kinds of things, structure of atoms can be easily determined. How many electrons are there in the system can be determined. Okay, the angular momentum of many electrons. Then we have this very famous phenomenon, photoelectron spectroscopy and X-ray fluorescence and phosphorescence. Those part, we have the Jablonski diagram. Though Jablonski diagram is not given in there because, as I have already told you, this book is not for the higher classes, and Jablonski diagram is obviously used for higher class purposes. So for master's purposes and for higher studies. And from Jablonski, as Jablonski diagram is just a diagram and the concept, there are no formulas, so it is excluded from this book. Okay, though just a small introduction is given, other than that it is not given. Okay, then we have the Z-Man effect. With this Z-Man effect, we have been studying since our childhood days, because you know that Bohr's the disadvantages of Bohr's, the cons of Bohr's theory was that the Z-Man effect was not followed, and those kinds of stuff. You already, I guess you remember the Bohr's Z-Man effect, Stark effect. These were not followed by the Bohr's atomic theory and the Planck's atomic theory. So that is why. So here we'll be discussing what is Riemann effect. Okay. Then we have the influence of nuclear spin, and here comes the NMR concept, nuclear magnetic resonance. So we'll be moving into that. Then we have this electronic spectroscopy, basically which is using UV-IR methods. Okay. So for diatomic molecules, for polyatomic molecules, and the techniques and instrumentation. Okay. Then we have the NMR part, that is spin resonance spectroscopy. NMR basically means nuclear magnetic resonance spectroscopy. That is firstly studied for hydrogen nuclei, then for nuclei other than hydrogen, like F19. Then we have let us say C13, phosphorus 15. Okay, I'm sorry, not F19. Fluorine electron is used. Fluorine atom is used. Okay. Then we have the techniques and instrumentation. Again, electron spin resonance spectroscopy. Okay, that is not the nucleus is spinning around here. The electron is spinning. Okay, and for that purpose, some different calculations are deduced. Okay, so then we have this very introduced newly introduced principle of Morse-Baer spectroscopy. Okay, so Morse-Baer spectroscopy is like not so widely used, as you can see. Only only just a small part of the book is given. Only 6 pages this chapter has. Okay, so this is not so widely used, but it is a new way of determining, like it is a new type of spectroscopy and used in a different certain manner, so as to for determining the structure of molecules. Okay, so so this was all about the contents of this book, and we have one more pro of this book that I would like to address about is the answers to the problems. Okay, you can see that problems are given in each and every chapter of this book, so as to solve huge amount of questions from the book, and practice your knowledge from the book. But many a times the student who is not so confident might be facing difficulties in, like he or she may solve the question and no, be not sure basically that whether the question is right or wrong. Okay, so for that purpose this book has done one thing, that is it has given answers to the problems as well, which is, I think, which is a very good step for for problem books that have questions. Okay, I recommend, not basically I not recommend, I wish that each and every book must follow this principle. Like if you are giving questions in the book, try and giving the, at least not the solved solution, but at least the answer of the questions that are given there. So at least when the students solve, they can at least correlate with the answer and see whether they have done it right or not. Okay, So and my advice to you guys would be, I would advise you to follow those books only. Like if you are going for numerical based or question based book, then follow those books only which have detailed, not detailed, basically answers there, at least some amount of answers there, so that at least you can like verify your question, verify your answer, you're solving your method when after the question is done from the book itself. Okay, you don't have to, like many a times there is no you do not have a contact with a teacher or a professor or something like that who can guide you. So if for that cases your book can be your guide also. Okay, I recommend that. I obviously like have many students in such who have followed this and have gotten good marks in the jam examination, so I would recommend that. Okay, moving on to the next part, that is the contents are finished. Let us move on to the body of the book and see what are the exact detailed explanations that are given. Okay, so the first chapter, introduction, we see that light obviously as a is a electromagnetic radiation. Electromagnetic falls under the electromagnetic spectrum range. Okay, so so it will be having electromagnetic vectors of both electric field and magnetic field propagating in the same direction, along one direction in the just perpendicular to each other. Okay, so that part is explained in this book. Then we have the equation of the motion of electromagnetic radiations, which is basically light. Okay, so from these we have derivations including quantization of energy. You can see that this A is equal to delta E is equal to H nu, a very famous equation. H is Planck's constant. Those parts are given. Then we have the regions of the spectrum. I would like to stop the pause this video. If you want, you can pause this video here. You can turn around your phone and you can see that all the spectrum related data is given to you. The NMR spectra, ESR spectra involved in the change of spin, microwave spectra involved in the change of orientation, infrared spectrum involves the change of configuration, visible X-ray involve the change of electron distribution, and gamma ray involve the change in nuclear configuration. So basically from gamma ray we cannot do any spectrum related calculations. All gamma ray contributes in radioactivity. Okay, in radioactivity gamma ray has its purpose. So we are obviously not going to study the change in gamma rays for spectroscopic purposes. Okay, then so you can see that NMR is there, ESR is there, microwave, all these having the what wavelength of what is the wavelength, the wave number, the frequency, and the energy. All of them are explained in this table. So you may pause the video and give a look. Okay. So then we have this direction of rotation and dipole, the explanation for the stretching of CO2 molecule, which is basically one of the main one basic thing that we learn from the IR spectroscopy. Okay, so these are like you can see that very good explanation is given regarding to the dipole variation of CO2 molecule, and therefore like we will be getting good data from this. Okay, then the instrumentation is there, explained how the spectrum works, what is the how we take the sample, what are the things that are like the spectrum is passed through, that is prism, a lens. Okay, so I'm not going into technical details because those are the just the machine work, and basically you do not require those details as well. In if you are instead if you are a PhD student, then you may require the machinic detail, the technical details. Other than that, it is not so much required. Okay, so now we have this so the basic elements of practical spectroscopy. So first of all we have this absorption instruments, then we have this emission instruments. Okay, so these are the basically the two methods by which we study spectroscopy. First is by absorption of radiation, and then by emission of radiation from that including going on in that molecule. Okay, so so that is like that is quite explained properly. You can see obviously this is again the technical details is given, so this part won't be requiring any such like focus. Okay, so the way the spectral lines. Okay, now this part is like quite important. I would like you to give a study: collision broadening, Doppler broadening, Heisenberg uncertainty principle. Okay, how Heisenberg uncertainty principle is involved in the spectroscopic calculations, how it gives, how it varies the data and those kinds of stuff. So those are like explained, so you can see the those. Again, intensity of spectral lines from transition probability, population of states, those part also play a huge role in that purpose. Okay, so you can see that the population equation also is also useful here, because when we pass electromagnetic radiation, basically it gets excited. Okay, and if I'm getting excited, it moves from the lower energy state to a higher energy state, and the population study at the lower energy state and the higher energy state would be giving us the exact data about how many molecules are excited, what how much energy would be required to excite this certain amount of molecules. Okay, so those kinds of stuffs are explained. Then we have this path length of the sample. Okay, so path length is basically from the that part, that is Lambert-Beer's law. Okay, so you can see that Lambert-Beer's law is given here, and the intensity of the radiation being passed, what will be the absorbance and transmittance, those also vary the those also helps in like determining various aspects of the spectroscopical data. Okay, then we have this Fourier transformation spectroscopy. Now this part is not so much required. Why? Because this is just like this. You can just give a read, because we know that when we take IR spectroscopy, we do it from the Fourier transformation method. So we name it as FTIR spectroscopy. Okay. So what is FTIR? What is Fourier transformation? You can just give it a like reading. Other than that, it is not so much required. Okay. It like involves the wave number and the frequency of the emission, the radiations which is taken, which is emitted, that those kinds of stuff. Okay, so these are like extremely well explained, but I doubt it is required anywhere in our syllabus. Okay, so we stimulated emission lasers. So these are some stuffs that we need to like study. Okay, so and you can see that problems are given. Okay, now here only four problems are given, because basically no such formula was there in this chapter. Okay, only explanation was there, and few formulas were there, which were obviously like which may be kind of useful. Okay, then we have the microwave spectroscopy, as I told you, my favorite. Okay, so microwave spectroscopy, like in accordance to the moment of inertia, we have different categorization of molecules. We have linear molecule, symmetric top. Okay, and for those for that purpose, we like what will be the like structure of the structure of the molecule, and the moment of inertia in that case. Okay, so for linear molecules, moment of inertia is IB equal to IC. For symmetric top is equal to, it is IB is not equal to IC or IA is not equal to 0. Okay, example will be BCl. Okay, BCl3. Then we have spherical tops, which constitute which have IA equal to IB equal to IC. My example is methane molecule. Okay. Then we have asymmetric tops, which have IA not equal to IB, not equal to IC. Okay. Just for example, water or vinyl chloride. Okay. So you must from this part you can point out and study whether which of the molecules have in accordance to the moment of inertia, what would be the type of categorization of these molecules. Okay, and this is one of the questions that those competitive examination usually ask. Okay, so I would like you to give good focus in this. Okay, so we have the rotational spectra. Now for diatomic molecules, you can see derivation is given. Okay, now this equation for like by the use of Schrodinger wave equation they have given. So this equation has arrived. Okay, but the exact derivation, though it is there in other books, it is not there in this book. And basically, if as I already told you, you won't be requiring it if if you are just planning to prepare on competitive and non-competitive exams. Okay, so this formula is given. From this formula, the spectrum related data is given. Okay, calculations are given. The B, the rotational constant, the significance of that. Okay, selection rules, intensity of spectral lines, those things. Okay, so this part is quite properly explained. You can see that numerous sums are given. Okay, then we have this non-rigid rotor and the data regarding that. Okay, then we have the spectrum of a non-rigid rotor. Okay, so these part are like you can see that huge amount of explanation is given, the exact derivations are provided to you. Okay, so except for one or two very complex derivations, all of the other data is given to you already. Okay, so that is why I would recommend this book for you, because you can see that largely the major 90 to 95% of the things, the concept, the derivation and the numericals are already given to you. Okay, so we have polyatomic linear molecules like this one, like ethyne. Okay, so for those cases we have the energy relation, energy level formula. Okay, then we have this formula for moment of inertia. Okay, so for those cases we have this, you can see that the huge derivations are given. What is the spectroscopic, the symmetric top molecule. Okay, now we have two types of top, that is prolate and oblate, so those kinds of stuffs are like properly explained. Okay, then we have techniques and instrumentation. The Stark effect, as I've already told you in the beginning, Stark effect. The Stark effect is quite properly explained. Okay, then we have the chemical analysis, and you can see problems are given. Okay, this 7 problems are like enough for you to understand whether you have understood the chapter or not. I personally recommend you, if you have studied this chapter as a whole from this book, please solve the questions initially and then move on to the next chapter. Okay, then we have this infrared spectroscopy, which is the which is from the vibration of a molecule. So firstly we'll be studying a diatomic molecule. So simple harmonic oscillator, this law is known as the Hooke's law. Okay, I'm sorry, where's the formula? Yeah, so it was given alongside. Maybe I'm not finding it, but this formula is named as Hooke's law. Okay, Hooke's law. Now the derivations regarding to that is given now. An harmonic oscillator, extremely important. Many numericals arise from this part. Okay, so this part is called properly explained. The transitions related to the anharmonic oscillators is given. The numericals regarding that is given. You can see many types of transitions. The calculation regarding that is explained. Okay. Then we have a diatomic vibrating rotator. The rotation, vibration both are taken into consideration. Okay. So the vibration rotation spectrum of carbon monoxide. You can see a diatomic molecule here. It is taken, and the calculations regarding that is done. Okay. Then we have this Born-Oppenheimer approximation. So this part is also like the derivation is given, not quite extensively, but it is useful for the knowledge. Okay. Then we have the vibration of polyatomic molecules. We know already the terms linear and non-linear vibrations. How many would be the types of vibration that is possible. Okay. So you can see that for water molecule, the types of vibrational modes are being like discussed in front of you. Okay. So then we have this overtone combination of frequencies. This part is also quite important. You might give it a read. Okay. Then we have this the influence of rotational spectra in polyatomic molecules, which involves firstly linear molecules, and then we have the non-linear molecules obviously, and the influence of nuclear spin from that part. Okay. So this was all about this chapter. Then after this instrumentation part we have yeah. So after instrumentation part we have questions. So let me just go down to the question part. You can see many problems are given. These will be like enough sufficient for you. Then we come to the Raman effect, the occurrence of Raman spectroscopy, how it is occurred, then the polarizability of molecule, which is basically basis of Raman spectroscopy. Okay. Then we have this study, the explanations related to polarizability. Then how will the molecule be arranged in such a way that it would be looking spherical or oval from the Raman spectroscopic point of view. Then the pure rotational spectra, the mathematical part, the equations. Then obviously you can see the Stokes line, anti-Stokes line, the Rayleigh's line. All of them are quite properly explained. Then the symmetric top molecules, for those what would be the energy level, what would be the rotational constant, the vibrational Raman spectrum. So what would the vibrations looking like for a water molecule? Those kinds of stuffs. Then we have this overtone combination of vibrations in respect to the Raman spectrum. Okay. And the polarization of light and Raman effect. Basically, nature of polarized light, where we know that polarizability is when the the vectors of the vibration vectors of electromagnetic radiation is diminished to only one direction, that is known as polarization of light. Okay, so degrees of polarization, those concepts, obviously we pass it from a Nicol prism or a crystal filter. So from that the light becomes plane polarized. Then other explanations are given. You may just pause this video if you like to see any of the part, and if you require this book, I have already given you my email in earlier videos. You may go check that out. Email me if you want this book. I'll be emailing back to you the PDF of this book. Okay. And if you are smart enough, you can find this book on the internet only. There is no such thing as not being able to find it. You can see 5 questions are given, very huge questions. You can solve it quite easily. Then we have the easy part, that is the electronic spectroscopy. The shape of molecules, all our orbitals, sp, df, those orientation of orbitals. I'm not going through the bulk of this book. You can see the magnetic quantum number values, how they affect the spin and the overall angular momentum. So those kinds of stuffs. Okay, this chapter is quite easy. Not so much to worry about. This chapter also won't be having any sort of questions over here, because not so much emphasis is given on formulas. So X-ray fluorescence spectroscopy, though just one paragraph is given, not enough. So for this part you require to consult another book for if you are willing to get details on that. Okay, then we have the Zeeman effect. The derivation for Zeeman effect is given, the main formula, the sub numericals, all of them are given. Okay. Then we have problems regarding that, and you can see that many problems are from this chapter is also given. So it will be like quite easy for you to check whether you have studied understood the chapter properly or not. Okay. Then we have molecular spectroscopy, normal spectroscopy from the electronic, vibrational, and rotational spectroscopy. So those parts from the harmonic point of view. I'm not going into the details of that. Um, the spin resonance spectroscopy, obviously the NMR part. So in this case you can see that only one formula is given, which is basically enough for this book. Okay, then we have all the answers that are given, and then the index. Okay, so that was all about this video. I hope you have liked the video, and you have gotten enough knowledge about what this book is all about, how it can be used for preparation of all those kinds of exams that you have been that you are preparing for. And obviously the parts, as I told you, which are not included in the book, if you want to study those, you can consult other books also for that purpose. And obviously I'll be reviewing some more books on spectroscopy, so you may compare it and see whether which book will be suitable for you or not. Okay, so thank you guys for this video. I'll see you guys in the next one.